Welcome to the Breaking Burnout for Nurses podcast. I'm Bonnie Kitahata, your host, and I'm so happy to have Johnny Lashay back with us today. There are very many topics that Johnny can help us with. Just book you for every month of the year. But anyway, so today we're going to talk about staying strong when all hell breaks loose. Okay, so nurses need help with that, right, Johnny?
I think we all do, but nurses, God love them. I don't know how you do it all, but total empathy and admiration for nurses.
So Johnny has been on our show before, but you've missed the previous show. Just tell a little bit about yourself.
All right, well, first off, you might notice my voice sounds a little funny. I dress a little strangely. This is not a fashion statement. It's covering up a trait. I'm a stage 3 throat cancer survivor. Radiation damaged my throat. I used to be a singer. I used to sing at Disney, Opryland, cruise director. I sang all over the world on USO tours and stuff. So when I lost my voice, I lost my identity, lost my self-esteem. It was a whole thing, and that got me into the world of coaching. It started to impact my relationships and my profession when started to lose my voice. So I help people find their voice. Mostly I work with women that have lost their voice in either on the job or in relationships. So trying to navigate your energy when all hell breaks loose. Well, first off, we need to know what's our objective. Why are we here? A lot of time, effort, and energy to get to where we are today, and things are not going the way that we expected. There are lots of things in our world that appear negative in the moment. We kind of lose sight of the good stuff when we become overwhelmed. So we need to protect our energy so we don't get to the point where we become overwhelmed. And how do we do that? I have 4 certifications. One of them is in mental fitness. We need to protect our energy. We need to know where our energy leaks, what's draining us, what's filling us up. If you walk into a conversation and you feel good about life, you're happy, you're positive, and somebody says something, you might let it slide off roll off your back and like, oh, that person's having a bad day. If it happens again, well, that put a little ding though in your energy level. You turn the corner and somebody starts bitching about something, and they turn to you and say, "What do you want?" And all of a sudden, your defenses get triggered, and now you've used up more of your energy. So as you go throughout your day, you become depleted. You get hungry. So what do you do when you get hungry? Well, hopefully you stop and you eat something, right? Some protein and some complex carbs, and you hydrate. If you go 12 hours without doing any of those things, how good are you going to be for anybody?
Right,
Well, your
because
brain,
just be real, we don't always have time to eat that perfect meal or, drink enough
Mhm.
water because we're running the whole time. So,
Yes, so you do though have to have moments that you do sip some water, right? And you do eat, maybe it's just one chicken nugget instead of the whole meal. But hopefully not while you're walking and talking. But you just take a moment. Let's talk about our brains though, and our energy. I look at it like a force field. I'm a big, Star Wars junkie, and
Star
all the
Wars.
Star Wars, Star Trek, and they talk
Ah,
about shields up. You need your energy shields up. So when life starts to shoot things at you, if you have positive energy around you, you can not be depleted, and you can reframe things on the spot. You have the energy, the wherewithal. Both hemispheres of your brain are still functioning, but the lower it gets, the right brain starts to shut off, and you start to doing limbic responses are not good for anybody. You're not at your best self. You can only present yourself to the world yourself. And if you're at your C game and not your A game, is that who you want to represent? And the answer is usually no. So,
no.
so you're the only person that can take control of the situation. A lot of people love to do yoga or Pilates or some type of mindfulness at home. And when I was learning the positive intelligence program, which is all about eliminating being emotionally hijacked, not allowing other people to let you stay in that fight or flight, freeze or fawn mode. There was a mindfulness coach. He had a studio and they had all the right things. And he taught this stuff. Right? But he signed up for the positive intelligence program because it's great that you do your mindfulness 45 minutes or an hour or whatever, and you feel really good. And then you go to work, and all of a sudden things start hitting you, and it's little dings in your force field. And by lunch, you're depleted. So mindfulness on the go is how I call it. I call it mindfulness on the go,
Mhm.
where we can do small things that bring us into our five senses. Left brain is always worrying about stuff. It's judging other people, judging ourselves, judging other people, judging our circumstances, and it's our inner critic is on fire. And that is really we need to quiet that voice. And the right brain is where we have all of the positive energy, where we have our empathy, our unconditional love, and our ways to explore and innovate and create things. How to reframe things on the spot without, if we shut that off, ways to do this. When we get in touch with our five senses, any of them, doesn't have to be all five, quiets that left brain and it brings us into the moment because we're either worried about the future, what we're about to walk into, or we are dreading the past. So we need to get out of the future and out of the past and into the moment, into the present, so we can be the best that we can be. And in order to do that, we need to constantly keep our positive energy high. Ways to keep your positive energy high. Number one, you can do tactile things. One of the ones that you can do even while in a room full of people. Let's say let's say you're in a conference, a nurses meeting, and you have to get up and speak. Everybody's going around and saying something, and you're nervous about that. Well, while this is happening, if you're doing some type of mindfulness on the go, for instance, taking two fingertips or maybe all five under the table and just trying to feel the ridges of your fingerprints, just to that intensity. And then maybe take a hand and go down to your palm, feel all those sensations. Or if you just have one hand free, just use your thumb and your finger and try to do that as well. Try to feel. If you have a little bit of privacy, you can maybe feel the temperature of something. Maybe
Hmm.
feel your palms, your cheeks, feel the texture of your eyelashes. It doesn't matter. Whatever it is, look at your palm of your hand. How often have you just looked at do it right now? Look at the palm of your hand
Okay.
and notice all the different shapes and colors, all the different crevices and the softness, the calluses, whatever they might be. There's a lot. And then take your other hand and feel all of that. When you do this, guess what? You're not worried about the future. You're not regretting the past. You're right here in the
Hmm.
moment. That is fueling positive energy and reinforcing your force field. When life gets tough, you have something left in your tank.
I
If you
love
have
that.
so now another thing that you can do is listening. Now, you might think, how do I do this though when I'm in the middle of a shift and I have not even time to eat? But as we listen, so when you're talking to a patient and a patient is talking back to you, instead of just getting, see, we communicate on two channels, data channel and then the emotional channel. Our words are only about 15% of what people receive. The rest of what they receive is the energy surrounding those words. So if we're depleted when we're talking to people, they are not receiving the message you want them to have. So you need to understand that your words, the data, like for instance, if I say, Bonnie, I like you, Bonnie. You're like, no, you don't. Your face is telling me otherwise. Your tone is
Yeah.
telling me otherwise. Well, so you have to be congruent with your energy, with your words. If
Right.
you want,
Okay.
so when you are depleted and you're talking to people, guess what? They have
Mhm.
tuned you out. They're not listening to your instructions. When you talk to somebody and they talk back, listen to the tone of their voice, the inflection of their voice. You might think that this takes away from the data that you're getting from them, but no, you're getting so much more information when you're listening to the inflection
Mhm.
of the breathy sound or the not breathy sound. There's so much more to communication. Is there a sparkle in their eye or are their eyes just sad? And so look at all of those things. Look into their eyes and really look at all the different colors of their pupils, the colors of their eyes. Sometimes it's multicolors in their eyes. Look at their hair. Now, whatever it happens to be, look at all the laugh lines and look at all the things on their face. Look at all those features as you're listening. These are all things that bring you into the moment and not let you worry about the last patient that you saw that just
Hmm.
worked your every last nerve. You are now engaged with this person. They see that you're interested in them, you're listening to them, you are with them. And so this brings up your energy like taking a big sip of water when you're thirsty. Every time that you engage in mindfulness on the go, in the moment, you can do this. Now, 10 seconds. You want to try to do it for 10 seconds, and that equals one repetition. You want to try to do 100 repetitions throughout the day. When you meet somebody for the first time, if you're allowed to touch them and shake their hand,
Mhm.
feel the warmth of their hand. Feel the grip on whatever it happens to be. Listen to the tone of their voice, listen to their eyes. 10 seconds, using one of your senses to collect more data. When I take a break, okay, little inside self-disclosure, I have ADHD. So I have to take every 10 minutes. I have to stop. I might get up and I don't work on the floor as a nurse does, but I work at a computer a lot. So sometimes I'll walk outside and I'll just listen to the birds for 10 seconds, 15 seconds,
Yes.
maybe a minute, and then I'll shift to the furthest away sound. Do I hear an airplane? Do I hear the ocean? I live about a mile from the ocean, so I
Uh-huh.
might hear the surf if it's rough day. I might hear the palm fronds with the air rustling through. I might hear the cardinals chirping or the woodpecker pecking, and I'll shift my senses to listen to the furthest away sound, to the closest sound, and then I'll listen to the sound of my breath coming in and going out. Or I might take my fingers and put them under my nose and feel the temperature of the air going in and feel the difference of the temperature air coming out. I'm engaging my senses. I'm doing what's called positive quotient reps, PQ reps. Like there's EQ, there's PQ, positive quotient from positive intelligence. So these are things that I've learned about mental fitness. When you have this reserve in your tank, they did this experiment. They took two groups of people, same type of people, but they broke them into two groups. One group got to go into a room with a plate of cookies, plate of radishes, and they said you can eat either. The other group could only eat the radishes. So after 15 minutes, the people came out. Nobody cheated, but the people that ate the cookies came out smiling. The people that couldn't and could only eat the radishes, they would watch them. They would pick up the cookies, smell them because they were freshly baked. They would then put the cookie back and lick the crumbs off their. But they came out a little. They weren't as nice, right? But they weren't mean. But then they thought that was over. They said, "Oh no, there's one more thing." So they took all the people one by one into their different rooms, and they made them do a maze that you'd have to follow and try to find your way through this maze to get out the other side. There was a lot of roadblocks and you had to go back, but you had to keep your pencil down and go through it all. They didn't tell them that it's impossible. And they said, yeah, it takes about 15, 20 minutes to do this, whatever. So the people that ate the cookies, they lasted about 18 minutes before they left. They said, I don't know what happened. I just couldn't finish it. They were kind of unfazed, but they were, Now, the people that didn't eat the cookies, that could only eat the radishes, guess what? How long do you think they lasted? They lasted about 7 or 8 minutes. And then when they left the room, guess what? They were not happy campers. They were bitching out the people that did the test. This is the stupidest test in the world. Why did I waste my time? You guys are idiots. Whatever. I'm paraphrasing. I don't know what they said. But
Right.
the point is, they were not happy. And this proves the point. Your willpower has limits. You need to fuel and to have resilience. You need to continually, throughout the day, build your resistance. Because guess what? A lot of times, our jobs are hard. We come home, and then our partner is being a jerk.
Mhm.
And we do not have the bandwidth to deal with it. So we
Mhm.
say, go screw yourself. I'm out of here. And this is not what we want. So if we can have that resilience and then look at that person and say, oh man, they might not care about my day, but I managed and I'm okay. And I'm going to give them a minute to act like a child and help them come out of their adoptive child status and get back into their emotional adults. We'll act like an idiot in the relationship at some point in time. And that's okay. Well, I shouldn't say an idiot. We act like our adoptive child. We learned as a child how, we come into this world beautiful, perfect essence. But somewhere along the line, somebody does something that we feel scared and we adopt to survive. We might have had parents that neglected us. We might have had addicted parents that were in and out. They might have been abusive. There's all kinds of things that we have to live through. And as a child, we're smart enough to survive and we adapt. But as we grow older, we don't let go of that coping mechanism and we use it still as an adult. So we will slip back into that adoptive child and cope in ways that are childish. And
Yes.
but there comes a time that when you're with a partner that can say, "Wow, you must have had a really bad day because you're not acting like yourself. Want to talk about it?"
Mhm.
Versus, "Well, I had a really bad day too, you jerk." So you have to have that energy. There will be times though that you're gonna hope that your partner sees you being that adoptive child and can bring you up. So it's okay to go into that as long as one of you stay. So you have to lean on each other, and you're both gonna slip and back and forth. That's my talk today. I just wanted you to know that it's something that you have to be intentional about. Why do you want to keep your resilience up? So when you get home, you don't live to work. You work to live. And if you get home and you worked all day and now you don't have anything left in your tank, well, what's
Mhm.
that about? Where's the joy in that? So we need to keep ourselves resilient, and we do that through not just food and hydration, but we have to do it through positive energy. So that's what I'm hoping everybody gets out of this. I'd like to gift everybody.
Oh, great.
If, if they would like to learn more about doing that, I offer everybody one free session. It's a 60 to
Beautiful.
90-minute empowerment session to help them find where their weaknesses are, things that they need nourishment on in their life, and then help them with a couple tools to learn how to adapt better and be more resilient.
Okay, beautiful. Okay, so the answer is not feed them a chocolate chip cookie.
Yeah, well, you don't want to just slim radishes all day long and never. So you have to realize that people's resilience is a limited resource, and if you don't
Yes.
replenish it, put gas in your tank, just like your energy for your food, your mind can slip into that adoptive child stance and present yourself in your best light.
Well, thank you, Johnny. I like that reminder. I think we know that, the left brain is the worrying side and the judgy and the critic. And thank you for reminding us, that the right side is more the positivity, creativity, and unconditional love that we need to nurture that side of our brain. So thank you for that great reminder. Go to my website, www.breakingburnout.com, and we'll have Johnny's information there and a link so that you can follow up with him and get some coaching, and that will be very helpful for all of us. So thank you again, Johnny. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today, and we will see you again next Monday.